Elevate your home with Paris Rhone, where style meets function in perfect harmony. Discover their curated collection of premium home appliances and accessories. From sleek kitchen gadgets to innovative living room solutions, Paris Rhone brings a touch of Parisian elegance to your everyday life. Ready to transform your space? For a limited time, enjoy up to 20% off your first order with promo code DARK. Visit parisrhone.com today and elevate your home the Parisian way. Welcome back to Dark Crossroads Podcast. I'm your host, Roxanne Fletcher, and today we will be diving into one of the most shocking and impactful unsolved cases in American history. So grab your coffee or your comfort blanket because today we are going to be talking about the Chicago Tylenol Murders of 1982. Now, before we dive in, I want to give you a heads up that this case is particularly unsettling because it does involve something that we have all in our medicine cabinets. It is a story that literally changed how we buy medicine forever. Every time you struggle with those annoying tamper-proof seals, yeah, so you can thank today's case for that. But here's the thing that gets me about this case. We're talking about 42 years later, and we still don't know who did this. Somebody out there got away with terrorizing an entire city, killing 7 innocent people, and fundamentally changing American consumer culture. And the scary thought is that they are probably still out there. So settle in because we are about to take you back to September of 1982, when Chicago became the epicenter of fear and a simple headache remedy became a weapon of mass terror. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody to form this image in their mind. It is September of 1982. MTV is still playing music videos. E.T. is dominating the box office, and people are doing something that seems absolutely wild to us now. They're buying medicine without any safety seals. No tamper-proof caps, no foil barriers, no safety warnings. You just walked into a store, grabbed a bottle of Tylenol off the shelf, and trusted that what was inside was exactly what it said on the label. And I know I am fully aware that at this time, this was normal, but for some people, this sounds like living on a different planet. But that's exactly what made this case so terrifying and also so effective. The killer exploited a trust so fundamental that most people didn't even know that they had it. And before we go any further, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a product tampering scare? Or do you remember when your parents suddenly became paranoid about checking every seal on everything? Send me your stories and your experiences. I will read every single message. Now, our story begins on the morning of September 28th of 1982 in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. Mary Kellerman was just 12 years old, a 7th grader who woke up that morning complaining of a sore throat. Now, this is where it gets heartbreaking, because Mary was doing what any of us would do. She had a sore throat, so her parents gave her a Tylenol. Extra-Strength Tylenol, to be exact. 1 capsule, that's all it took. Mary's parents, Janus and Janus Kellerman, were just trying to help their daughter feel better before she went to school. They had no idea that they were about to become part of the most notorious unsolved case in American history. Within hours, Mary had collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital, but at this time it was too late. She died that same day. The doctors were baffled. A healthy 12-year-old girl doesn't just die from a sore throat. But at that point, nobody connected it to the Tylenol. At least, not yet. I am a parent, and I cannot imagine the guilt that these parents must have felt. You give your child medicine to help them, to make them better, and instead, it's just the unthinkable. And before we move on, I just want to ask you to keep Mary in your thoughts as we continue with the story. The same exact day that Mary took that fatal Tylenol capsule, about 10 miles away in Arlington Heights, 27-year-old Adam Janus wasn't feeling well. Adam was a postal worker, hardworking, responsible, with a 4-year-old daughter named Cassia. He woke up that morning feeling under the weather. So, naturally, Adam did what millions of Americans did every day. He stopped at the Jewel Osco store and bought a bottle of Extra-Strength Tylenol. He took 2 capsules and then decided to go home to rest a little bit. But here's where the story becomes completely devastating. Adam collapses at home and dies. His family was in complete shock, grief-stricken, obviously, trying to make sense of what just happened to this healthy 27-year-old man. Now, when families gather after a sudden death, people often get headaches from crying, from stress, from grief. So when Adam's family gathered that afternoon to mourn him, and when his brother Stanley started getting a headache, Stanley Janus, 25 years old, reached for the same bottle of Tylenol that had just killed his brother. He took 2 capsules. His new wife, Teresa, just 19 years old, and married only 3 months, she had a headache too, so she took 1 capsule. Within hours, both Stanley and Teresa were also dead. 3 members of the same family. That's when authorities knew something was horribly wrong. Can you imagine being a surviving family member? The Janus family just lost 3 people in one day, all from the same bottle of medicine. The trauma of that, it's something that affected generations of that family. By September 30th, authorities in Chicago were dealing with something unprecedented. They had 4 more victims. Mary Rayner, a 27-year-old mother from Winfield, who had just given birth to her 4th child. Mary McFarland, a 31-year-old woman from Elmhurst. And Paula Prince, a 35-year-old United Airlines flight attendant who was from Chicago. That is 7 people. 7 lives, all taken by the same method. Extra-strength Tylenol capsules, laced with potassium cyanide. And here's what makes this case so chilling. The killer didn't know these people. This was not a personal attack. This was random, calculated terror. The medical examiner found that each capsule contained enough cyanide to kill several people, not just one. We're talking about 65 milligrams of potassium cyanide per capsule. That is thousands of times the lethal dose. Whoever did this wanted to make sure that their victim did not survive. And here's the truly terrifying part. The killer had to have tampered with the bottles while they were on the store shelves. They walked into these stores, opened the bottles, replaced the medicine with poison, and then put them back. And then they just waited. Just think about that for a second. Somebody walks around Chicago area stores knowing that whoever buys these bottles would die. And they did it anyway. That level of callousness, it's almost incomprehensible. The FBI, Chicago Police, and Illinois State Police mobilized what became one of the largest investigations in American history. They tested over 1,100 Tylenol bottles and found cyanide in just 8 of them. 8 bottles out of millions, but those 8 bottles killed 7 people. The contaminated bottles came from different stores, different lots, different manufacturing dates. This wasn't a factory contamination. This was somebody deliberately going store to store, bottle to bottle, turning medicine into murder weapons. Now here's where it gets even more frustrating. The killer was smart. Cyanide breaks down in the body within hours, making it nearly impossible to trace. The capsules were opened, emptied, refilled with cyanide, and then carefully resealed. No fingerprints, no DNA evidence that could be processed with 1982 technology. But then on October 5th of 1982, somebody called the Chicago Tribune. The caller said that they were responsible for the deaths, and they were demanding $1 million from Johnson & Johnson, which was Tylenol's parent company. And they wanted this to stop the killings. The caller identified himself as Robert Richardson from the Tylenol killer group. The extortion letter led police to James Lewis, a 36-year-old man from New York with a history of fraud and extortion. Now, Lewis always denied being the killer, but he did not deny writing the extortion letter. His explanation was he was just trying to capitalize on the murders. Here's the thing about James Lewis. He was definitely suspicious. He had a history of fraud, he'd been in legal trouble before, and he was clearly comfortable with extortion. But being a scumbag who tries to profit from tragedy doesn't necessarily make you a mass murderer. Lewis was convicted of extortion, and he served 13 years in prison, but he was never charged with any of the murders. Why is this? Because despite decades of investigation, there was never enough evidence to prove that he was the killer. James Lewis died in July of 2023, taking whatever secrets he had to the grave with him. His final interview was for a Netflix documentary where he continued to deny being the killer. As one of the Chicago police superintendents put it, James Lewis was an asshole, but he wasn't the Tylenol killer. So where does this leave us? 42 years later, still no answers. No justice for 7 innocent lives. The Chicago Tylenol murders did not just kill 7 people, they changed American society forever. Within days of these murders, Johnson & Johnson issued a recall of 31 million bottles of Tylenol. The company's response actually became a case study in crisis management. But honestly, that is another story for another day. More importantly, this case led to the creation of tamper-evident packaging. You all know these. Those annoying foil seals, the safety caps, the plastic wraps that require scissors to open. All of those exist because of this one case. The Federal Anti-Tampering Act of 1983 made product tampering a federal crime. But here's what really gets me. The killer succeeded in creating exactly the kind of fear that they wanted. To this day, people check their medicine bottles. People worry about product tampering. People think twice before taking pills. The psychological impact of that case is still with us to this day. I would bet that some of you, right now, are thinking about checking your medicine cabinet. That's a lasting legacy of these murders, a permanent sense of vulnerability about something as basic as taking medicine for a headache. Before we wrap up, I want to make sure that we remember the victims as people, not just numbers. These weren't just names in a case file. They were real people with real lives, real families, real dreams that were cut short. Mary Kellerman was just 12 years old. She should have grown up. She should have gone to high school, maybe even college. She should have had a life. Adam Janus was 27, a hardworking person, working for the post office with a 4-year-old daughter who still carries the trauma of losing her father at such a young age. Stanley Janus was 25, an immigrant who had adapted to life in America and was building a future. Teresa Janus was just 19 years old, just married for only 3 months. She and Stanley should have had a lifetime together. Mary Rayner was 27, a mother of 4 children who lost their mom when they needed her the most. Mary McFarland was 31, with her own family and friends who still miss her. Paula Prince was 35, a United Airlines flight attendant who traveled the world but was killed in her own city. 7 people, 7 families destroyed. Countless others forever changed, and someone out there knows who did this. So here is where all of you come in. This case is still active. The FBI, the Chicago Police Department, and other agencies are still investigating. They still want to solve this case, but to do so, they need your help. If you have any information about the Chicago Tylenol murders, if you know anything about whom might have done this, if you remember anything unusual from September of 1982, please contact somebody. The FBI Chicago Field Office's phone number is 312-421-6700. You can also submit tips online at tips.fbi.gov. You can call the Chicago Police Department at 312-744-8200. And remember, all tips can be submitted anonymously. This case is 42 years old, but somebody out there still has information. Maybe it's a family member who acted strangely around that time. Maybe it's somebody who happened to brag about it to you. Maybe it's someone who knew something but was afraid to come forward. The families of these victims deserve answers. They deserve justice. And if you're listening to this and you know something, anything, please find the courage to come forward. It's never too late to do the right thing. The Chicago Tylenol murders remain one of the most impactful, unsolved cases in American history. Not just because of the lives that were lost, but because of how fundamentally it changed our relationship with the products that we use every day. Every time you peel back that safety seal, every time you push down and turn a child-proof cap, every time you notice that tamper-evident packaging, you're experiencing the lasting impact of these 7 murders. But more than that, this case reminds us that evil can strike anywhere, anytime, without warning. It reminds us that there are people out there capable of incomprehensible cruelty. And it reminds us that sometimes the bad guys really do get away with it. At least they get away with it for now. Because as long as there are people like you listening, as long as there are investigators who refuse to give up, and as long as there are families who demand justice, this case isn't closed. So keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and if you know something, anything, please speak up. 7 people died because someone thought they could terrorize a city and get away with it. So let's prove them wrong. Alright, weirdos, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining me for this deep dive into the Chicago Tylenol murders. I know it was heavy, but these stories need to be told. And if this case affected you, if you have thoughts or theories, or if you just want to share your own experience with product tampering scares, reach out to me on social media, or you can email me at darkcrossroadspodcast@gmail.com. Your voice matters and your stories matter. Remember, if you have any information about the Chicago Tylenol murders, contact the FBI Chicago Field Office at 312-421-6700, or you can submit tips online at tips.fbi.gov. Next week, we will be diving into another case that shook America to its core. Until then, be weird, stay different, and don't trust anyone. And remember, justice delayed is not justice that is denied. This has been Dark Crossroads Podcast. I'm your host, Roxanne Fletcher, and I will see you next time. Are you tired of juggling multiple AI platforms? We'll say hello to Babbly, your gateway to the world's premium AI models all in one place. At Babbly, they have revolutionized AI access. Imagine having ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Claude at your fingertips. seamlessly integrated into one user-friendly platform. That is the power of Babbly. Whether you are a developer, researcher, or just an AI enthusiast, Babbly offers streamlined access to top-tier AI models, a unified, hassle-free experience, and cutting-edge technology with unparalleled simplicity. No more switching between apps or juggling subscriptions. With Babbly, you get the best of AI all in one place. Are you ready to simplify your AI journey? For our listeners today, we have a very exclusive offer. Using promo code DARK10, all lowercase, when you sign up for Babbly, you will get 10% off your first month with Babbly. Don't let complexity hold you back. Join the AI revolution with Babbly today. Visit Babbly.com and use code DARK10 for 10% off your first month. Join the crowd at Babbly, simply unlocking AI's potential.